Discovery Channel's Moonshiners stars Mark Ramsey and Digger Maines show the challenges of running a sneaky business without getting caught. While they are racing the production deadlines for their moonshine, they have to keep their eyes and ears open to avoid law enforcement. In their effort to produce more, they have enlisted a new team member who is a safe bet. During the latest episode of Moonshiners, Mark Ramsey and Digger Maines were faced with the need to boost production and fast. However, they have suspicions their operation is being watched. They need to get a new team member on board quickly, but don't have a lot of time to vet them. So Mark turns to family. To take on the hurdle, Moonshiners stars Mark Ramsey and Digger Maines agreed that Sally Jane Clarke was the right choice. Mark's wife, Sally, grew up in a moonshining family, and she has shown interest in the craft. Sally comes from a long lineage of moonshiners in Cock County, TN. However, the main selling point for asking Sally to learn was that she cannot be compelled to testify against Mark if they are caught. But Sally is more than happy to make a flavor she's been itching to create: cinnamon-infused liquor. Unfortunately, her first attempt doesn't make the cut because it has too harsh of a taste. But it was the perfect opportunity for her to learn an innovative way to change it up. They take wood chips and soak them to try and mellow the flavor. Additionally, they put corn, sugar, and cinnamon sticks to ramp up production. It was a huge win. Mark couldn't help but brag about Sally and her smooth new liquor creation. But one of the first lessons Mark and Digger teach Sally is to watch out for anything suspicious because they know law enforcement wants to trick them. While Moonshiners stars Mark Ramsey and Digger Maines are working hard to get Sally Jane Clarke up to speed, they run into a critical threat alert. Mark and Digger can't help but compliment Sally and Patty Bryan's work. Digger says, "It's **** fine liquor." When they are celebrating how well Sally's first production turned out, a stranger enters the scene. Mark and Digger were acquiring new ingredients to produce more sin-a-shine when a guy sent up many red flags. But while they are loading up, the stranger asks about purchasing some moonshine. However, Mark and Digger aren't falling for it. Mark declares, "Every moonshiner on the planet will tell you the cardinal rule is never to sell anything to anybody you don't know." After he leaves, Mark and Digger are shaken. They know they are being worked. Furthermore, their intuition is heightened as the guy drives off in an unmarked black truck. They are even more convinced he is connected to law enforcement. Moonshiners star Mark Ramsey promises his wife, Sally Jane Clarke, that if she can perfect her brew, she'll never have to mow the yard. He challenged her to make it the best in the world. She appears to have taken him seriously. In a Facebook reel, Sally Jane's Sin-a-Shine is touted as the best cinnamon spirit. Seemingly, Sally was ready to embrace her new lessons. On the South Mountain Distillery website, she claims, "This cinnamon-flavored moonshine will rival any on the market as one of the best." What do you think about Mark Ramsey and Digger Maines adding Sally Jane Clarke to the team? Do you enjoy seeing the Moonshiners process behind the scenes? Drop your comments below. Bonnie Kaiser-Gambill is a graduate from Oklahoma State University. Her freelance writing primarily focuses on streaming series, reality TV, and celebrity news. During her free time, she enjoys spending time with family and friends, baking, and traveling as often as possible. Moonshiners Mark and Digger enlist safe help to boost production in the depths of the Appalachian Mountains, where the trees weave thick canopies over winding dirt roads. Mark and Digger were busy with their secretive, high-risk craft, moonshining. Operating under the cover of night, with only the steady hum of their stills to keep them company, the two men had been refining their craft for years. Their recipe for moonshine was legendary, passed down through generations and honed to perfection. But as demand grew, so too did the need for innovation and reliability. The time had come for Mark and Digger to take their operation to the next level, and they knew they couldn't do it alone. The decision wasn't made lightly. To sustain their growing business and maintain their quality standards, they had to recruit new help. But they couldn't just bring anyone in. Moonshine production wasn't just about making alcohol. It was about knowing the land, understanding the risks, and having the right touch. After all, the law didn't look kindly on their operation, and safety was paramount. Mark and Digger had built their success on trust, secrecy, and a deep knowledge of the craft, and they weren't about to jeopardize it. The need for expansion in the world of illegal moonshine production was a high-stakes game. Facing numerous close calls with the law, rival distillers, and even the occasional disaster. Yet, despite all the challenges, they had earned a loyal customer base, largely through word of mouth. Their moonshine wasn't just a drink, it was an experience. The smooth, unadulterated taste, the perfect burn, the rich sweetness, each sip was a nod to a tradition that had spanned centuries. But as more and more customers lined up at their back door, they realized their production methods needed to be more efficient. Their small-scale operation, which had worked fine when it was just the two of them, was starting to show signs of strain. They had the recipes, the stills, and the know-how, but what they lacked were hands they could trust to help handle the workload. For years, Mark and Digger had kept their operation small and intimate, relying only on themselves and the few trusted individuals who were part of the inner circle. But to scale up, they would need a fresh set of eyes, someone who could help keep things running smoothly while maintaining the high standards they'd set. The search for safe help. Mark and Digger knew the key to their success lay in their ability to work quickly and quietly. They had learned to rely on stealth, having mastered the art of avoiding the prying eyes of law enforcement and nosy neighbors. Bringing in new people meant finding individuals who could keep their mouths shut, who had a genuine respect for the craft, and who understood the stakes involved. The help they enlisted had to be someone who could handle the weight of the operation without drawing attention. After much deliberation, they decided to bring in two individuals who could fit their needs. First, there was Chet, a seasoned distiller who had worked in the business for decades. Chet had a reputation for knowing the land better than anyone, and his skills were legendary in the moonshine community. He could read the weather, the soil, and the terrain, and he knew how to get the best yields from the grains they used. With a steady hand and a sharp eye, Chet was a natural choice. The second recruit was Sarah, a young woman with a sharp mind and a knack for problem-solving. She had grown up around stills, and while she wasn't as experienced as Chet, her energy and fresh perspective were exactly what Mark and Digger needed. Sarah also had a background in engineering, which made her an invaluable asset when it came to troubleshooting the complex machinery that powered their stills. Her technical skills could help prevent breakdowns and ensure that their operation ran smoothly. While Mark and Digger were excited about the help, they were cautious. Bringing in Chet and Sarah meant a leap of faith, but they felt confident that these two could handle the responsibilities of the operation. The next step was to train them in the finer details of the business, teaching them the subtleties of moonshining that couldn't be learned from books. A new era of moonshining with their new team in place, Mark and Digger got to work, but things were different this time. Chet and Sarah brought fresh energy and ideas that Mark and Digger had never considered. Chet suggested tweaking the distillation process slightly to increase the efficiency of the stills, while Sarah proposed using a new, more effective fermentation system to enhance the flavor of the mash. These adjustments made an immediate difference, and before long, the operation was running smoother than ever. But expansion didn't stop at refining the process. Mark and Digger also realized that they needed to protect their business better. As their operation grew, so did the risks. They needed to ensure their moonshine was being distributed safely and efficiently, without leaving a trail that could be traced back to them. The team quickly became adept at evading detection, taking steps to hide their tracks at every turn. Chet, with his deep knowledge of the terrain, suggested they move their operations further into the hills, where they could set up a network of hidden stills that no one could find. The stakes were higher than ever. With law enforcement and rival Moonshiners watching their every move, Mark and Digger had to be extra cautious. But with Chet and Sarah on board, the team felt more confident. They could now focus on what they did best, making moonshine, while ensuring that everything ran smoothly behind the scenes. Innovation and tradition-ness, they made adjustments to their operations. Mark and Digger remained committed to preserving the traditions of moonshining. They didn't want to lose the authenticity of their craft in the pursuit of growth. The production was scaled up, but the quality remained high, and every batch was still made with the same care and attention to detail as the very first one. The team found a balance between innovation and tradition, always mindful of the legacy they were carrying forward. The changes they made allowed them to meet the rising demand without